Now, Mr. Chowdhary, the Executive Chairman, joins us. Hi, Mr. Chowdhary. Thanks so much for joining in. So, a quick update. The government has invited bids for supply of close to around 15,000 wagons. Have you bid already? Are you planning to bid? Because I think that bidding process closes out in January 2016.
Yeah, the tender is due, Nigel, on 12th of January, and we are definitely planning to bid.
Okay. How much would you bidding for it, Mr. Chowdhary? What portion of it? What would be the size?
We will be bidding for the whole quantity, but normally we expect to get as a group between 20 to 25% of the total orders.
All right. So just going by that math, then 15,000 wagons is what the total is. So maybe 25% of it, if you get, that would be around 4,000 wagons roughly. In terms of revenues and margins, what could it mean?
Well, again, it depends. It's a competitive bidding.
Yeah.
So the quantity and the margin will depend on what the bids are finally placed at. But there should be a reasonable margin because last two tenders, there was predatory pricing by some new entrants. We represented to the railway board and they have changed the formula to ensure that there is a greater transparency in the bidding and nobody takes the industry and the railways for a ride.
Okay. So the tender closes on the 12th of Jan. How soon before the order gets, gets awarded to companies?
Well, this time when we met the railway board officials, they said that we will award the orders pretty soon because the whole process has been streamlined in the railway board and the files don't move to as many levels as they used to move earlier. So we expect that the orders should be finalized by January, February.
All right. So what about...
hopefully.
Okay. What about capacity, sir? You have sufficient capacity. I believe that government orders are not a very large part of your order book. If this order comes in, then will that increase it substantially?
Well, when this order comes, it will occupy almost 50% of our production capacity.
Oh, okay.
Then another part of it will be occupied by private orders, and we still will have capacity available with us.
Okay. When you say that your margins, you're hoping that the realization on these tenders is a lot better than what we saw in the last two of them, what could be the approximate realizations?
The value would be, let's say, you mean you want the value per wagon or overall value?
No, what revenues you'll get per wagon as well as the kind of margins you'll enjoy on each wagon.
The revenue should be, depending on how many free supply items the railways give, the value will be between 15 to 20 lakhs rupees per wagon. Overall value we expect to bag orders is about 300 to 400 crores of rupees. And the margin should be fair, Right. We have promised to the railway board that the industry as a whole would depend on a reasonable margin.
Correct, sir. But if you're saying 300 to 400 crores and we're saying 15 lakhs per wagon, then I think you're not even looking at maybe not even 3,000 wagons. Around 3,000 wagons is what you're looking at. That's a little less than 25%.
That 3 to 4,000, as I told you.
Okay, 3 to 4.
Again, there's a formula for distribution.
Okay. One final question, sir. Quick update on terms of your order book. How much of it is private orders? How much is domestic?
Well, our present total order book is around 550 to 600 crores. And then we have a lot of orders in the overseas subsidiary, both in Italy and France. That's a substantial value. I have not made a bifurcation on how much is government and how much is private, but most of the orders from overseas are private. Then we are trying for a lot of export orders. If they come, they will be in the private sector. So it is a mixture of everything. You see, the railways order will be the primary order from the government sector, and the defense, if it comes, will be in the government sector.
After this tender, will there be any other tenders?
You don't know, but right now their annual requirement will be served by this tender, but then there are always possibility of special type of wagons. Then they might open up the policy for PPP in the railways, in the wagon supplies. So like what happened 4-5 years back, there was a spurt of order from the private sector. So that also may happen depending on how fast the railway liberalize.
All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Chowdhary, for joining in, giving us all those details. 2015 was a great year for your shareholders. Let's hope 2016 is even better. Thanks so much for joining in, and all the best for the remainder of this year. By the way, just take a look at a few stocks. IDBI Bank was running up. IFCI as well has suddenly spiked up. So just pull up the intraday charts of these stocks. IFCI, UCO Bank as well as OBC. You'll see that all of them have suddenly moved to the high point of the day, spiking up in the last few minutes. But moving on then.